to order. First item of business, turn off your cell phones or turn your vibrate. Next item is minutes. Is there a motion?
I'd move it on the minutes.
Well, second, although, was I second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Well, I'm not opposed, but I abstained since I wasn't here,
So we're
okay.
still all right? All right.
Okay.
Discussion and approval of claims.
I'd move on to claims.
Second on the claims. That's new.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yes.
Jim Marshall, Northwest Iowa Labor Council. Being this is a matter of public record, what are we talking about approval of what claims?
The warrants that have been.
All of the claims that the county has incurred, bills we've received for the last week.
Okay, thank you.
John?
Ooh, good morning, John.
Good morning.
Not getting around too good.
Let's stay out of those drainage ditches, you wouldn't have that problem.
Well, again, John Torbert, Executive Director of the Iowa Drainage District Association. Good to be back with you all. I know that I don't have a lot of time, so I'll talk about two issues quickly. One thing I'd like to point out is that, one thing that associations do a lot to, talk to membership is they create villains. Because you have to be able to show that your association is important. I want to point out to you that we don't have to create villains, they are real. I would talk about, first of all, the nutrient reduction strategy, which is a strategy that was put together by Secretary of Ag Bill Northey and DNR Director Chuck Gipp with a great deal of scientific input from Iowa State University. The strategy was basically crafted over about a 2-year period, was put out for public comment last fall. I think they received almost 2,000 public comments, and really the entire, or the bulk of the controversy over the strategy was, is it the state's responsibility and is it good public policy to talk about nutrient reduction in the sense that we regulate it or that we approach it with voluntary measures? And Secretary Northey's view and Chuck Gipp's view as director of the DNR was the best approach was voluntary. There was a large number of people in the environmental community who felt that the best approach was to regulate. That approach did not gain traction in this administration, and the strategy has a very strong emphasis on voluntary approaches. That is a strategy that is going to be implemented and is in the implementation phase as we speak. After that came out, we have now heard from the Des Moines Waterworks that they are very upset that the approach is going to be a voluntary one. They have basically opposed a voluntary approach from day one, and apparently are looking to see if they can figure out a way to regulate or tax drainage. We do have a plant in Iowa that is owned by Des Moines Waterworks that treats water for nitrates. It was specifically built for that purpose. It has not been used for about 6 years. But this year, due to climatic conditions, and that basically was a very, very dry summer last year, allowing the nutrients to sit on the ground, followed by a very, very wet spring. So guess what happened? Those nutrients went into the waterways, Des Moines Waterworks for the first time had to turn on the plant. Well, okay, you gotta turn it on, that's what it's there for, and treat the water. The director of the Des Moines Waterworks publicly, about a week and a half ago, referred to drainage tile as vipers of death. Exact words. And said that we need to find a way to tax or regulate new drain tile. Not making this up. That's the kind of mindset that we are looking at with respect to drainage. Obviously, don't agree with that point of view, but I just want to let you know what's out there. Second thing I would point out in terms of good news, and I've talked to you all before about a long ongoing case that involves a dispute with the Department of Natural Resources over spraying for weeds in a drainage district. This has been going almost 6 years now. It'll be 6 years Labor Day. What happened, to refresh your memories, is that this was in Monona County, just south of here. You had some trustees that hired a contractor to come in and spray weeds to clean the ditch out. Contractor was spraying, doing his job, doing what he was supposed to do. A landowner took offense at that, called DNR. They sent a field investigator into the site. Field investigator shows up on the site, looks down on the ditch, sees dead fish, automatically jumps to the conclusion that the spraying is killing the fish, and asks the spraying company, which has been in the business for many, many years and coincidentally works for the state to do the same thing on many times, asked the spraying company and asked the trustees of the district to sign a consent decree where they would admit liability, pay for the cost of the dead fish as determined by DNR. To refresh your memory again, why IDDA got involved in this was that one of the aspects of the consent decree that DNR wanted signed was that the trustees would turn over the operation of the drainage district to DNR for a 2-year period of time. We found that unacceptable. The district found that unacceptable, so we initiated, along with the spraying company, legal action against the Department of Natural Resources. Since this is an administrative action, you don't go straight to court. You have a number of hurdles that you have to jump through before you get to court. With a DNR case, you have to go before the Environmental Protection Commission, the Natural Resources Commission, and an administrative law judge before you get to court. So we did that, knowing we would lose. I mean, you lose those actions. Natural Resource Commission, we lost. Environmental Protection Commission, we lost. Administrative Law Judge, we lost. We go to district court in Monona County. The district court judge kicks the case back to the state and says, rehear the case because you, the state, withheld information the first time around. And what the information that the state withheld was that their investigator, in the course of the investigation, called a scientist at Iowa State University and said, we're investigating a fish kill and there was a guy spraying chemical, aquanite, in a drainage ditch and we think the chemical killed the fish. And the scientist said, you're barking up the wrong tree. So there's no way. He said the only way that chemical would have killed the fish, you would have had to have 2 conditions present. First of all, you would have had to have the chemical sprayed directly on the surface of the water in a high concentration, which did not happen. In other words, so it formed a sheen. So secondly, you would have had to have that sheen sit on the surface of the water for at least 48 hours to have the action that you're talking about. Neither of those conditions was present, so it's not possible. So the district court judge kicked the case back to the state, so we start the whole process over again. Natural Resources Commission, lose again. Environmental Protection Commission, lose again. Same administrative law judge we had the first time, who ignores what the real judge told her to do and sides with the state once again. So we lose all those, we go back to district court in Monona County. The case was heard in April of this year. Judge issued his decision in July. and basically threw the case out. Took the DNR to task, basically said in so many words this was a colossal waste of taxpayers' money, that there was never any proof behind the claims, and said, you know, basically threw the case out. He said the burden of proof was on the DNR, and they did not prove that burden. So the story has a happy ending. The case was dismissed. DNR chose not to appeal. We saw it as an attempt by the DNR to exercise an attempt to gain control of drainage districts, and there are a lot of people within DNR who don't like drainage and don't like drainage districts. We saw it as an attempt to gain inroads and to control drainage districts, so we fought it and we won. The sad thing about this is it took, I don't know how much the insurance company representing the sprayer spent, but guessing from the volume of the files that were carried into the courtroom, I'm not kidding, I would guess that it's in excess of $100,000. The drainage district spent in excess of $50,000 defending the claim, for which there was never one iota of evidence. 6 years. 2 trips to the Environmental Protection Commission. 2 trips to the Natural Resources Commission. 2 trips before an administrative law judge. 2 trips before a real judge before we got a victory. This is the kind of thing we're up against. And the good thing was that we had a successful resolution to that case. IDDA, through its Mutual Protection Fund, assisted the trustees financially in fighting that case, and I'm glad to say that we do have a positive result of that.
John, did they ever figure out what caused the fish kill?
They never did.
No one ever investigated that, or?
No. Yeah. And one of the things the judge said in his ruling, he said, you know, it would be nice if we had some testing that were done of the fish so that we knew. He said, but, you know, apparently the DNR investigator, the DNR fish scientist, you know, all the people at DNR who were involved, who could have sent the fish out for samples, never did. It could have been a manure spill. It could have been a weather condition. The judge hypothesized that the tank that the sprayer was using may have been contaminated due to no fault of their own. I mean, nobody knows, but there was never any proof.
So, was there any recovery of, who, I know that state taxpayers paid for all this. The company that was doing the spraying, I mean, did they receive damages or anything?
No, they did not.
Nothing.
No.
Just prove them innocent of this.
Just prove them innocent.
Okay.
I think it's a credit to the trustees of the drainage district that they stayed with it as long as they did, and I think it's a credit to the insurance company representing the sprayer that they stayed with the case as long as they did, because like most cases, when you get into this, the far easier thing would have been to settle, the far cheaper thing would have been to settle. They chose not to. They said, we are right, we're not buckling.
Go back to your first point. Am I all right to do that, Larry? Good. The case for the voluntary nutrient reduction. I mean, are there any incentives for producers to voluntarily do something about reducing the amount of nutrients that goes into the ground and pesticides and that kind of thing, so that runoff is affected, I mean, is reduced from pollution?
Well, what the nutrient reduction strategy has done is they have identified a number of practices which can be used to reduce nutrients. And those practices are no secret. They've been around. They're wetland construction, they're upper strips, they're cover crops, they are all things like this. And what the strategy is doing is there is money available now, which the legislature provided in this year. There is money to start actually doing tests and conducting pilots. So there is grant money out there that landowners can apply for that are willing to put these practices into place so they can actually become part of the test process. Once we have those test plots in place and the research done and all of the analysis done and samples taken and research done on all that, we hope, and the next step will be for the legislature and hopefully the feds to step up with more incentive money so we can get more of these practices on the ground. But right now, there is some money available.
Okay. That's the only two questions I had.
Okay.
John, I want to thank you.
Thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Always good to be here. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Take care of that knee.
I will.
Okay.
We've got a 10:15 set time on parcel number 510990 for the public hearing. The property is located at 1319 West 6th Street. Is there anyone here who wants to be heard on this issue,
Or against the sale.
for or against the sale? Not to buy it, just for or against the sale.
I move to close the public hearing, seeing no one
Second?
there to be heard.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will now sell the property at 1319 West 6th. Is there anyone here to bid on this property? Would you step? Aye. We need your name,
Lillian Carlson. My sister is Alma Gunderson. She's with me today.
okay? And your bid on the property?
Yes. We started the bid when we got a letter.
Okay,
How much?
I see that.
We're adjoining property.
Okay, for $1 plus recording fees.
Right.
Is there a motion?
Move to sell the property for $1 plus recording fees.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You can write in this office in here and they'll take your money.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. JD. Is there a motion on the personnel transactions?
They move on to
Second.
personnel transactions.
Second, sorry.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Once again, I'd like to make a comment. Jim Marshall, Northwest Iowa Labor Council. I was told last week that I could go online and find any issues that were not of public record at a public meeting on the online agenda. I find nothing of what the approval of the memorandum of personnel transactions are. And as a citizen of Woodbury County, I would like to know what it is we are voting on. And I think this should be brought up at the meeting. This is a public meeting, you're voting on a public issue, and we as the public would like to know what you're voting on.
Pat, was this online?
I'm looking to see, what did you put out there, JD, in the pack?
Just memorandum of personnel transaction.
Did you see that one, Jim, what you put out there? Is that online? Are they on there? Jim?
Yeah, that's on there. Yeah, the graph that he has listed.
Yes, it's the spreadsheet that has. Yeah. And so what are you looking for beyond that?
That's what I'm looking for, and I didn't find it.
Oh, but you've got it online,
You found it?
or was it in the pack? Something
There's a packet that I got emailed.
Got
But I
emailed.
did, but I also went to the online version yesterday and looked at it, it was online.
And it was on?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, it was my fault, I missed it, I didn't see it.
okay. But, I mean, is there something,
Well,
if you want an explanation?
I've been coming here for over 3 months, and when we vote on personnel issues, and we have no idea what they are. I had no idea what they are. I didn't know until last week that you could go online and find out what they were. So I went online, and I guess I didn't look at the right place, but I found out nothing. And that's why I'm up here today asking.
Right, but it was there, Jim.
And typically, what these are, they just tell you what's, there's a code here that tells you what's going on in the personal transactions. Up here, in this, right here, with the markers, they tell you what's going on. what is normally in there.
And every week this is,
Yeah, every week.
any personnel transactions?
Yes, and that's what, and sometimes there are, they have additional information if it's something out of the ordinary, that accompanies with that. But that's what you'll find each week. This is always.
Right. Okay.
Okay. For clarification, what this is this morning, it's a separation of 4 temporary engineering aides or summer laborers that will, with secondary roads. Is there a motion, or was there?
It was.
Was there in the second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Nera.
Time
We're
set
gonna
on
have a
that.
set time for the next.
Yeah.
Well, you did have one item before the set
Yeah.
time.
One other thing, Mark.
Sure.
The trip that we were gonna take this morning, we got 2 guys missing. George has got a 1 o'clock appointment. We're gonna postpone it for at least a week.
Very good. First item we have is consideration of approval of a contract for consultant services for bridge design on the Bronson Bridge on D38. This is a City Bridge Fund federal aid project where Bronson was able to qualify for funding. We are paying the local share on this and taking care of the design expenses. This bridge is requiring some additional design work because it's within the urban drainage area. Anything in an urban drainage area requires analysis if it's more than 2 square miles of drainage. We took quotations from 3 consultants on this. Calhoun Burns was the lowest responsible quotation for the project. I recommend approval of their consultant design contract.
I would move it.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Larry Bird.
Motion carries. We have a set time
And 20 for
for
propane
propane
bids.
bids.
Department takes propane bids for emergency management, conservation. I think the treasurer's office is now on board with us as well for the little courthouse in Anthem. First bid is from Johnson Propane Heating and Cooling of Battle Creek, Iowa. Put a little staple in there that makes it a little tougher to open. I believe last year we were 93.99 cents per gallon.
How much?
93.99 if I recall correctly. First quote from Johnson Propane is $1.05 per gallon. Our total is 41,200 gallons. Our next quotation, it doesn't tell me on the label who this is, so. Quotations from Cenex.
From who?
Cenex,
Okay.
out of Farmers Cooperative Company, Lamar's, Iowa, $1.15 per gallon. Next, we have Western Iowa Co-op of Hornick. $1.095 per gallon. Finally, we have Sapp Brothers. Sapp Brothers offers $1.05 per gallon. So we have a tie between
Right.
Johnson Propane and Sapp Brothers.
How do you break a tie? Draw names out of a hat? Or
I would say a coin flip, but
Do that.
would be about as good as we could do.
You want to do that now or next week?
This is pretty straightforward. There's no real analysis to be done. We have
Okay.
2 responsive bidders. I don't see why you can't make the award.
Okay.
If a coin flip seems fair to you, I have a quarter handy, so.
Who's gonna call it? I mean, the,
Mike,
I'm a Scott Brothers, my bid is $1.15. I think you're ready to make a
Your signed quote at Sapp Brothers says $1.05. I mean, if you're withdrawing the bid, then we just go with the other one. Right?
I know where we at, so we all know.
All right, I guess I've spotted one other thing here too with Sapp Brothers, taking another look at it. You bid approximately 40,200, our quantity was 41,200. He's agreed to the original quantity, which was 41,200 gallons.
At $1.05.
At $1.05. I understand, you're going by the signed
Draw a
quotation.
name and flip a coin.
Pardon?
I'd rather draw
Draw
a
a name
name
than-
than
That's fair enough.
can we legally do that with the modification of the bid from our attorney?
But it's not a modification of the bid. His sealed bid was the $1.05.
Yes, $1.05, but then you said
On the
it was
quantity.
on the quantity.
Is the quantity right on SAP's bid?
The quantity is incorrect on SAP's bid. It's 40,200 instead of 41,200. But everything else is, again, that's an
The other
approximate
bid
quantity.
the other
We
bid
have
has
a
the
more.
correct quantity.
Pardon?
The other bid has the correct quantity.
Yes, it does.
I think if the quantity is not as specified in the proposal, then it wouldn't be responsive to the proposal.
Even if you have the bidder sitting out here saying that they agree with that number?
Well, it's past time to submit the bid, so they can't change it at this point.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Well, I would move to award it to Johnson out of,
I will second the motion.
Discussion. Anything?
I'm satisfied with either bid.
Okay.
They're both
All those in
both
favor?
$1.05.
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I believe we're past 10:25, which was the set time for calcium chloride bids.
Right?
This is another annual bid. This is for de-icing material. Our first bid is from Univar USA of Bedford Park, Illinois. They bid $434.50 per ton for 45 tons of material. Typically in a winter, we order about 90 tons. Last year, we did not use our full quantity, so this year we are bidding less. $434.50. Last year, we had $399 per ton. Our next bid is from Scott Wood Industries. $45 tons at $399 per ton. Our final bid is from Egan Supply of Omaha, Nebraska. They're $490 per ton. 490. I recommend award of the bid to Scott Wood Industries for $399 per ton.
I would move it, take the engineer's recommendation on this item.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark. Next item is the county treasurer, Michael Clayton, to approve the abatement on various mobile home taxes that are uncollectible. Is there a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Gill.
What I'm asking you to do, and today I even have props with me today, but,
You do?
yeah, it's right here.
I was wondering what that was.
What is that?
That's a scanner. That's where you put you can put a driver's license up there, and it'll read that barcode. That helps people check in. When we use electronic poll book in the precincts, speeds the process, matches it up there, and it's optional to use your driver's license. Before that issue even came up, there's an electronic poll book out there called Precinct Atlas that other counties are using it, and we experimented with it before. But the Secretary of State's office has now got a they've got an electronic poll book out there that works with these scanners and these printers. And so what we're just asking to do is that we budgeted and you approved it and borrowed money to purchase a high-speed scanner for the absentee precinct. And that actually came in under bid. And plus, we even sold the other two that came in. They were for $10,000. So you're way ahead, still ahead of the game. What I'm asking to do is to spend the balance of those funds to purchase those for each precinct that we have out there. One of these scanners and one of these printers in order to facilitate the process.
So you say this is voluntary, though? I mean, if I walked in there, and if I'm out,
Yes,
if
it
I'm
is.
an old guy, don't have a license because I'm too
That's
blind to
correct.
drive anymore, I don't, I wouldn't be rejected from voting.
No. And that's what we train our precinct election officials to make sure that they're aware of that. And what occurs today in the polling place, even without this, is people do bring their driver's license in. And we tell the precinct election officials to go ahead and accept that so that they can actually see the spelling of the name, and it facilitates the process. Just makes it quicker. It's easier for those folks to see that name and looking them up in the registry.
Right.
So it's strictly voluntary.
Yeah, I
It's,
just don't want to make it hard for people to vote.
Will we be asked to do that when we go vote? I mean, will we be asked to do it, even though it is voluntary, to have our driver's license scanned?
they'll, yeah, probably. I mean, the some will say, you can do it, but if someone says they don't have it, then they accept it. They just look the name up on the computer. And that's what we did during those specials when we had them in the courthouse. And when they vote absentee, that's what we do, is that they'll come in and just show them the driver's license. People just automatically do it. I don't think they even ask. They're
So
not.
say, I've never been asked before. I just wondered if this
I haven't either.
would prompt
But it
now
just-
a change in behavior on the
Yeah.
who's working there, because you have the technology to do it.
When we experimented with it, we didn't ask people just when they saw what was happening, they would take it out if they had it. But if they said that they didn't, there was no problem. You just look at the name and the spelling, and they just go through the process. It is becoming political as far as what's out there with the Precinct Atlas and the other, because I guess I shouldn't name the name, but there's a candidate out there that is not the current Secretary.
That's all you
of
need to
State,
say.
is that he is promoting this as a way to get around the ID. Is doing it voluntary through the electronic poll book.
What is the printer for, Pat?
That's to print out the eligibility slip that you'll sign. Instead of having to print your name and all that, is that when
That you'll give the precinct worker?
the precinct worker will have that and print it out, and you'll just sign the eligibility slip that way. Because it matches up that information and prints it out automatically so that you can just print it. And then also registration materials come out of there for folks who are same-day registration and that type of thing. So it just really speeds up the process. And we plan on having, at the busy precincts, to try to have 2 in each one, so that when you're going through the line, if you're not, if you have, as soon as we call it a resolution table, if there's a problem with your registration, we pull you out, move you to the resolution table, so you're not holding up anybody waiting behind you to vote.
Well, my personal thing, I just don't want to have a process here that inhibits people from even wanting to come in to vote, because you have to go through such a process that what's the point in even coming in to vote if I have to go through all of this, just to vote for somebody?
This actually,
And I don't, I want people to feel free to come in and to vote, not because they have to, you have to present all these documents and whatever and so forth, Pat.
this actually speeds it up because it prints the information out for you if you use that, and just sign your eligibility slip. Otherwise, the search engine works very quickly. You just put in a couple letters of the last name. Most of the time, they can pick it up very quickly through that. And when we've experimented with it before, it's much quicker than leafing through the paper register to get to them.
You've got the money.
Pardon?
You've got enough money.
No, I'm asking you to spend your money.
Whoa,
Do
now
you have
that's
it
a
in your
different
budget?
story.
Do you have it in your budget?
No, I thought you had that much left.
In your budget?
No, it's a budgeted item that you budgeted last year for the purchase. It came out of the money that you borrowed in order to do that.
And there was
We have budgeted
excess left over.
$120,000. The machine he bought was $104,500, I believe. He also got 10,000 back, so we really got 15,000 plus 10, 25,000 available. So that's
From that
why-
budgeted amount?
Right.
Yeah,
It's in the budget.
yes.
It wasn't in my budget, it's in the budget. But anything that we
The
spend.
money's there.
Yeah, anything we spend over that, we'll take out of the administrative budget, the elections administrative budget. I'm not asking to spend the 10,000 that we got by selling it. I'm just saying your money ahead.
We did put that 10,000 back into the CIP fund just to help offset the cost, so really none would have to go through Pat's budget. We'll amend the budget in the CIP to cover it.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'm
Well,
moving.
you seem kind of.
Well, I just hope it's not
I
a
re-
precursor to.
Yeah, I second it, but I just, if you're right, Pat, about it makes it more expeditious for people to get through and vote, then I'm for
We did
that.
that, honestly, that's what we did.
Yeah, but I don't want a system that is going to inhibit people from voting and not even discourage them from even coming in.
Like I said, one guy is saying that this will alleviate that concern, so
Okay.
we'll see.
I don't see a hindrance here, really. If you don't have a driver's license with you, you just go through the regular process.
Right.
That was a motion, kind
I
of,
got a
Well, that's
second.
kind of a
motion.
second,
I might kind of vote for it.
kind of a, who's all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Now come to the point of the agenda where hearing of any individual or group that wishes to make a presentation. Is there anyone to be heard? Jackie wants to tell us about her.
We don't have enough time.
I need a motion to go into closed session for a general relief appeal for NC. Is there a motion?
I'd move to go into executive session under section 21.5, parent 1, parent A.